Uh-oh.
Okay, we'll start with this. An interesting bit of information I came across when perusing the WBA's website. Per their website, it would appear that there's a WBA Eliminator set to go down in the women's super bantamweight division April 17th against unbeaten up-and-comer Johanna Wonyou and former WBA champion Mayerline Rivas. Set to go down in London next month. French-born, London-based Johanna Wonyou sports an unblemished record of 11 wins with no losses, no draws, 2 knockouts, who I like to think of as the super bantamweight division's best-kept secret. One of them, America's own Micaiah Kreps, would be the other. This is a deep division, and not every fighter in it gets the same coverage. Thus, you have very good fighters like Johanna waiting for their big moment, waiting to break through to the mainstream. She'll be opposite the ring Mayerline Rivas, who sports a professional record of 17 wins with 6 losses, 3 draws, 11 knockouts, having never been knocked out in 26 professional bouts, coming off of 2 consecutive losses, one to Erica Cruz and one more recently to Micaiah Kreps, who I mentioned earlier. That was in October of last year, where this fight is set to go down in April. What makes for a step up in class for Johanna Wonyou, a step up from the kind of girls that she's been fighting, but still a manageable situation as she's facing a former champion that is up there in age and coming off of 2 back-to-back losses, though still a better fighter than any fighter Johanna has fought so far. Good little acid test. What I figure is Mayerline Rivas is not going to be in any hurry to engage Johanna Wonyou, who's got some pop. She's got some power, even though she doesn't have a lot of knockouts. Mayerline is going to do what she normally does in this situation and move around. Beat those feet, beat those legs, use the ring to keep distance and create space, set up counters. Johanna Wonyou being the shorter, stumpier fighter of the two, it'll be on her to close the distance and get in close. She's going to have to put pressure on Mayerline Rivas, but I think she can. She's adaptable like that. You wouldn't consider her a pressure fighter, and according to Hoyle, pressure fighter, but she can behave like one. I think she can behave like one if the situation calls for it. If you're facing a moving target that doesn't want to engage, I think she'll be able to handle it. Because this is a WBA Eliminator, I don't know if it's a final Eliminator. I don't know if the winner of the fight is installed as the mandatory, but it's definitely a step in that direction, the direction of Nazarena Romero. This division's reigning WBA champion that's set to be defending her WBA title very soon in Orlando, Florida, opposite the ring, Mayeli Flores. In May, I think it is. I wonder that won't go down on the undercard of the proposed Edwin De Los Santos versus Frank Martin fight that's rumored to be happening that month. And Edwin is promoted by Samson Lukowicz, same guy who promotes Nazarena. Let's not get off track here. Johanna Wonyou's fighting in this Eliminator in April. The champion, the actual WBA champion, is fighting the next month in May. It's an interesting turn of events. I like Johanna Wonyou to win the fight. I like Johanna to win a points decision. Mayerline's never been knocked out, and I don't think Johanna's the one to do it. I don't think that's going to change. But I do think she can win a points decision. And we'll talk more about the fight as the fight date approaches.
I mean, I love Lou. Look, we've got a partnership next week in Sydney with George Kambosos. He is incredibly bitter.
Eddie and Bob and Warren and Oscar
now being exactly what they used to criticize me for.
In my opinion, and I'm just being honest, like, I'd say it to his face. Zone boxing is incredibly successful now, and its most, in my opinion, financially successful market is America. The Canelo-Alvarez partnership that we were responsible for, the big part of it, that really drove subscribers. Riyadh season now, you know, the addition of Bam and Boots and all these big fights, Jake Paul stuff, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. Like, it's a massive platform, and you know, I don't get the narrative of, like, it's quite funny because, like, I saw Lou's bit. I only saw a couple of clips ago, and he said, "Yeah, how does Eddie feel now? He's a middleman."
Eddie and Bob and Warren and Oscar now being exactly what they used to criticize me for. Like, when they got their exclusive deal and I couldn't get directly to a network, even when I had the talent, and that pissed me off, I'd have to go through them. And then they would actually have the nerve to take shots that I was a middleman. Me, who was running more local shows, putting my money where my mouth was, not making money doing Broadway boxing, 144 shows in New York City, dominant promotion in New York City for 20 years, right? But they were downing me for being a middleman. Well, guess what, mother? That's what you are now.
I'm like, I don't care what I am. Do you not understand? What I do is I make money. I make the world of boxing go round. I have a fucking huge business that is one of the most successful sports businesses in the world. And whether I'm a front man, back man, middle man, I could not care less. People worry about how it's going to negatively affect others. Ha ha ha. Do you know how toxic that is? Do you know how toxic that is? Yeah. So you've got people out there, like Lou, right? And listen, I love Lou, who is actually quite sort of secretly happy that certain people, it might affect certain people. Terrible mentality. Whatever way it shakes, I'm there. And I'm full of life, full of energy, and I will not be beaten. But if you think like that, then you haven't got to worry about who's doing what. I just believe in myself, our ability, our company, our position. And I'm unbreakable.
May have sounded like reprisal in Lou Dibella's head, seemed like little more than resentment to everyone else in his Armageddon prophecy, his doomsday scenario for all the other game in town as a result of TKO's entry into the world of boxing.
You wish.
It would seem that Eddie Hearn has caught wind of Lou Dibella's prophetic rant.
Tirade.
How Turkey and Dana and Nick will reduce all the other promoters in the sport to little more than middlemen.
You wish.
We talked about it here on the channel just the other day, what seems like an overestimation of TKO's role in the sport and how that's supposed to affect everyone else.
Lou Dibella seemingly taking a premature victory lap.
What is this axe to grind that Lou Dibella has with everybody, but Eddie more than them? Eddie in particular, since I've seen him take more shots at Eddie over the years than the other promoters. I think Eddie,
He resents him more than the others. Perhaps it's because DAZN went with Eddie, a Brit,
a foreigner, to be their point man for their American debut, their U.S. debut, instead of somebody who's already been there and familiar with that market, Lou Dibella.
In 2018, when they made their U.S. debut, they went with Eddie to spearhead that effort. And I think Lou, all these years, resents him for it and resents them.
Just imagine how it looks to Lou that he was bypassed for that position and it was given to the Silver Spoon kid.
That he's British doesn't help.
He's always smiling. Still has all his hair,
Yeah.
all that money and all that success.
He's cocky too. He's confident. He believes in himself.
And Lou resents him for that. When Lou Dibella facilitated the sit-down meeting between Deontay Wilder and John Skipper at DAZN, what I think he was attempting to do was deliver to the platform, deliver to them in such a way that they might do more business with him. That if everything would have worked out between Wilder, John Skipper, and DAZN for the Joshua fight,
If it would have worked.
maybe they give Lou Dibella a budget. Maybe he can funnel all of his fighters over there and he can get some dates of his own instead of having to go through everybody else, everybody who has a broadcast deal, because he doesn't.
He's got fighters. He's got contracts.
But he doesn't have a network deal like Eddie has a network deal, like Bob, like Oscar.
If it would have worked out, maybe they would have gave him one. But it didn't work out. And all that came out of that was he was so exiled from PBC Island for facilitating the meeting.
I remember the rumors around that time. All the PBC guys hopped into an SUV and left Lou Dibella behind, effectively severing ties between them and him. Up until that point, they did business together. Not after that.
They were angry he set that meeting up.
Al Heyman was. That was the rumor at the time. But you know, Lou's a survivor. He kept doing business with people after that. I mean, he didn't disappear. He didn't get rubbed off the face of the earth. He's done a number of fights with Eddie Hearn, Matchroom, with Bob Arum, and Top Rank.
Kinda has to.
Because while he may have fighters and he may have contracts, what he doesn't have is a network deal. What he doesn't have are fight dates. So to keep his fighters active, he has to go through them to get them on a network.
He used to be the vice president of HBO Boxing.
Decided to step down from that position in the mid-2000s to go all in with his Broadway boxing circuit that has had mixed success. I mean, on one end, he is a Hall of Fame inductee. He is a Hall of Fame promoter. But on the other end, successful people don't harbor as much resentment as Lou harbors. He's mad at everybody, you can tell.
And it ain't because of how good things have been.
Dynamic of his working relationships with the Eddie Hearnses of the world, the Bob Arums, that he's never in a position of power when dealing with these people. Because they're the ones with the network money behind them, so he can never really approach a set of negotiations with as much leverage as he would want to for himself, for his fighters. That's why they call him a middleman.
And that's where the resentment comes from.
He feels like they've been pushing him around. And he felt that between Dana White, Turkey, and Nick Khan, they can do some pushing. They can push around the guys that have been pushing him around.
What have I been telling you? That is a gross overestimation. They want to be successful. Of course they do.
You're adding a lot of stuff to this that maybe isn't even a part of their bottom line. No, it's probably not their mission to phase out the sanctioning bodies from the sport of boxing or run all the other promoters out of town, put them out of business.
That's just what you were hoping.
And trying to figure out how does this TKO boxing league fit into the picture, you let your imagination run wild. It got the best of you.
He's bitter.
I ain't even saying he's a bad guy, that he's not successful in his own way, but as it pertains to the other game in town, he's bitter, and you can tell. And finally, the hits keep coming for Ryan Garcia ahead of his showdown with Rolly Romero. Apparently, the people at Fanmio have gone ahead and decided to sue him. Fanmio officially filed a lawsuit against boxer Ryan Garcia and Goldenboy for alleged fraudulent inducement, tortious interference, and other serious claims. Per the lawsuit, Garcia had an exclusive agreement to fight Rikuya Enpo in an exhibition match in Japan this past New Year's Eve. Despite receiving payment and the promotion being well underway, Fanmio was deceived into organizing an event in which Ryan never intended to participate. In addition, Goldenboy Promotions actively worked to sabotage the event. Fanmio felt confident that this event would be a big success. Fanmio's actions reflected its confidence in the time and money invested in the promotion. Despite Ryan's exclusivity to the event, he is set to fight in May in Times Square, disregarding his contractual obligations. The justice system will take over, and Fanmio fully intends to recover damages. Doing bad business will never be tolerated.
Everybody kind of forgot that the thing with Rikuya Enpo was supposed to get rescheduled.
Ryan withdrew with a reported injury. Not sure what it was that he injured, but it was still their intention to reschedule the event, the exhibition with Rikuya Enpo, where Ryan seems to have left them high and dry to box on one of Turkey's shows.
And the tortious interference?
Remember, Oscar never gave Ryan his blessing to participate in this thing. As far back as November of last year, Oscar De La Hoya said they haven't signed off on that, and until they do, there is no event. At which point, Ryan reportedly becomes injured, and the whole goddamn thing gets forgotten about.
Just not by Fanmio.
They went as far as staging a kickoff press conference for it, so some money must have went into it, in tandem with their claim that Ryan has already received some payment for what was supposed to be this fight. Now what the people at Fanmio want to do is recoup whatever they had already spent to try and promote this thing.
Whatever they gave Ryan.
What I never got was how does Ryan walk into a situation with another promoter, Rizin, who was supposed to be promoting this, and Fanmio, who was supposed to be distributing it, when he's contractually bound to Oscar De La Hoya and DAZN? From the looks of it, he never had the autonomy to walk into a separate arrangement, seemingly cutting them out of the deal. Maybe he thought he could because it would be in a foreign territory, because it would be in Japan, as opposed to America, where he's based out of.
Maybe that's what he thought. But a contract is a contract, and if he signed one, he's on the hook.
See, this is where the kid stuff that he gets by on goes out the window.
Because he acts like he's a little kid, and it's the little kids that gravitate towards him the most.
The ones without fully developed brains, the ones without common sense, the ones he tries to appeal to when he asserts his innocence.
Just the other day, he took to his social media, and he uploaded the video of Devin Haney's little brother.
The one where he says he had a vision that Ryan would test positive for a banned substance.
You know, you see what happened, but it's okay. Wins and losses is what makes us bosses. You know, we did everything right in training camp, no excuses. I just don't know how Ryan did everything wrong and won, but like I said, no excuses. All glory be to Allah. But something crazy, though, is I was on the prayer mat today, and Allah was just telling me he's going to test positive for his drug test. Keeps going in my brain, and I'm like, no excuses. I mean, everything happens for a reason. And he keeps saying he's going to test positive for his drug test. He's going to test positive for his drug test. Yeah, but we'll see what happens. Like I said, all glory be to Allah. There's none worthy of worship but Allah.
By uploading that video, Ryan is trying to imply that the Haneys are the ones behind his positive test result, where his lawyer said it was as a result of contaminated supplements. Ryan's own team can't seem to get their story straight, but it would seem suspicious.
If not for Gervonta Davis accusing Ryan Garcia of the exact same thing an entire year before he fought Devin Haney.
I think a couple reasons. I think that it could be him juicing, and you know when you juice, they we have off cycles and on cycles. I think that's why I was pushing for the bottom.
So since Gervonta Davis said the exact same thing that Devin Haney's little brother said, well before Devin's brother said it, is he in on the conspiracy too, Ryan?
Make it make sense.
Like I've been saying, Ryan's shenanigans only seem to go over well with guys who have a boyhood crush on him. Idol worship.
It's kid stuff. That's what he's been getting by on. Kid stuff.
And that might go over well with little kids. But in the real world, where you're an adult,
this stuff doesn't fly. And that's why you accepted that suspension, because you never actually proved you were innocent. You never proved anybody sabotaged your samples or it was contaminated supplements. You didn't prove any of it.
It's kid stuff what you're doing. Except you're not a little kid.
So now Fanmio is suing him, and I wonder how he's going to wriggle out of that.